you are not the voice in your head. You are the observer behind the voice. The moment you stop owning your thoughts, everything begins to change. What if every thought you believed was yours is actually borrowed energy? What if reality responds not to what you do, but to who you truly become? Today, I'll show you how to step out of your mind, into your field, and watch your life transform. Have you ever woken up and felt like your own mind is working against you? Thoughts immediately rush in: I'm not enough, I'll fail again, what if today goes completely wrong? You feel like a prisoner in your own brain. Every decision, every emotion, every action seems to be dictated by these relentless inner voices. And the harder you try to control them, the louder they get. Here's a surprising truth: most of these thoughts are not even yours. They are recycled patterns from your past, echoes of your upbringing, societal conditioning, and old unresolved experiences. But because you've identified with them, you believe they define you. You carry their weight as if it's your identity. When you say, I am anxious, I am incapable, or I am a failure, you merge yourself with a temporary mental event, letting it control your perception of reality. This fusion between mind and identity creates a cycle of reactivity. Negative thoughts trigger negative emotions trigger stress responses in your body, and stress responses reinforce the patterns in your mind. Life becomes reactive. Opportunities pass by unnoticed. Relationships feel strained. Even small decisions feel heavy. You may have tried meditation, affirmations, journaling, or self-help techniques, but if your sense of self is fused with your thoughts, these methods only offer temporary relief. The problem remains. Quantum physics and spiritual philosophy give a profound perspective on this. Quantum mechanics shows that particles exist in a superposition, they do not have a fixed state until observed. Similarly, consciousness, or awareness, is the foundation of all existence. By identifying with your thoughts, you lose the observer. You are no longer watching life unfold, you are reacting to the chaotic signals inside your mind. You live from fear, doubt, and limitation rather than deliberate creation. You live small, anxious, and disconnected from your true potential. Because of this identification, life begins to feel repetitive. You attract the same conflicts, the same toxic patterns, the same missed opportunities. You wonder, why does this keep happening to me? The answer is not in external circumstances, it is in your inner relationship with your mind. Every thought you cling to, every mental story you believe, shapes the energy you emit into the world, and thus shapes the reality you experience. Here's an example: imagine waking up late for work, immediately thinking, I'm going to ruin everything today. That thought triggers anxiety, a racing heart, and tension in your body. You make mistakes, miss emails, and react harshly to colleagues. By the end of the day, you think, see, I knew today would be a disaster. This pattern reinforces itself, and your reality responds exactly to the internal story you believed. The problem is deeper than just negative thinking. It is the mistaken identification with your thoughts, believing that they define you. Until you see them as separate, fleeting energies, you remain stuck in cycles of reaction. You live as a reactor rather than a creator. Millions of people are trapped in this invisible cycle. They meditate, affirm, journal, and try to fix their minds, but if the observer is missing, the root problem persists. The breakthrough, the real shift, comes when you realize, you are not your thoughts. You are the space in which thoughts appear and fade. You are the observer. The moment you step out of thought identification, you reclaim your power. You stop being controlled by every passing fear, doubt, and limiting belief. You begin to shape your life not through force, but through conscious awareness. Your inner world changes first, and your external reality begins to respond differently. Imagine for a moment a scientist peering into the quantum world. She notices that what appears to be solid matter is actually vibrating energy, existing in multiple possibilities at once until observed. Particles don't have a fixed state until someone witnesses them. The act of observation itself collapses the wave of potential into reality. At the same time, imagine a mystic meditating in solitude. As they dissolve the boundary between self and world, they realize consciousness is not inside the body, it is the foundation of all experience. Both perspectives, seemingly different, point to the same truth: awareness shapes reality. This is the discovery: you are not the thinker of your thoughts, you are the observer behind them. When you realize this, everything begins to shift. Thoughts are no longer chains that control you, they are waves that pass through your field of consciousness. Once you start observing without owning, you step out of reactivity and enter creation. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was on a quiet beach at sunrise, feeling crushed by anxiety. My mind was racing with worries: I failed again, I'll never be enough, what if they reject me? I tried to push the thoughts away, but the harder I tried, the stronger they became. Then I paused. I closed my eyes and simply watched the tide rise and fall. In that moment, I realized, I am not the tide. I am the space the tide moves through. Suddenly, the thought, I am not enough, floated by like a leaf on the water, and I saw clearly that it was not mine. The weight I had been carrying lifted immediately. The circumstances hadn't changed, but my relationship to them had. Quantum physics mirrors this experience. Just like particles exist in superposition until observed, our thoughts are not inherently real until we identify with them. Spiritual teachers call this witnessing. The shift is subtle but profound, from "I am my thoughts" to "thoughts are happening in me." This simple awareness changes the energy of your being. It weakens old patterns and opens up space for new possibilities. The discovery is not just intellectual, it is deeply experiential. By recognizing that your thoughts are passing phenomena, you reclaim freedom from mental loops. Emotional energy that once fueled fear and anxiety now flows into clarity and creative power. You begin to notice synchronicities, opportunities, and solutions that were invisible before. Reality responds differently because your inner frequency has shifted. Another story: Sarah, a friend, struggled with self-criticism. She constantly identified with thoughts like, "I am not enough" or "I'm failing at life." After practicing observation, sitting quietly, labeling thoughts, and seeing them as passing energies, she reported, "It's like my mind is no longer driving me, I'm driving it." Within weeks, new opportunities began to appear in her career and personal life. She realized that when she stopped owning her thoughts, reality started aligning with her inner observer. This discovery also explains why meditation, journaling, or affirmations alone often fail. Without the observer, you are still fused with the mind. True change comes when you create a witnessing field inside yourself. Quantum physics calls it collapsing the wave function. Spirituality calls it presence or awareness. Both lead to the same result: when you shift from identification to observation, the possibilities in your life expand. The key takeaway: your thoughts are not you. You are the awareness observing them. Once you embody this truth, you gain control over your energy, your vibration, and ultimately, the way reality responds to you. The moment you step into this observer role, you begin to operate from power, clarity, and freedom. Life is no longer a reaction, it becomes a creation. Now that you understand the discovery, that you are not your thoughts but the observer behind them, let's explore how to apply this in real life. The method is simple, yet profoundly effective. It can be summarized in 3 steps: observe, detach, resonate. Step 1: Observe. Begin by creating a daily habit of observation. Each morning, dedicate at least 5 minutes to sit quietly. Close your eyes and take deep breaths. Allow thoughts to arise naturally, but do not engage with them. Label each thought as it appears: thought, "I am anxious"; thought, "I might fail today"; thought, "They will judge me." This labeling is crucial, it establishes the distinction between you and the thought. You are the witness, the thought is a passing phenomenon. Over time, this simple practice trains your mind to recognize that not all thoughts are directives, they are signals that can be observed without reaction. Step 2: detach. Once you can observe thoughts without judgment, the next step is detachment. Recognize that many thoughts are borrowed, echoes of societal expectations, childhood conditioning, or past traumas. When a thought arises, acknowledge it, then gently release it. Thanks, but this isn't mine. Detachment is not suppression, it is choosing not to identify with the thought. The mind will naturally present countless opinions, fears, and doubts. Detachment allows you to maintain your inner equilibrium, even amidst mental chaos. Step 3, Resonate. The final step is resonance, aligning your energy with the reality you desire. Once you step out of thought ownership, focus on your vibration, not on the mechanics of life. Visualize the version of yourself living your ideal reality. Feel the emotions fully: confidence, joy, freedom, abundance. Engage your senses, see it, feel it, even imagine how it smells or sounds. When your inner field resonates with a new possibility, the quantum field begins to respond. This is the practical application of the observer effect. Your energy and observation shape reality. Daily micro-exercises. Midday pause: take 1 minute at noon to observe recurring thought loops. Identify one thought that is unhelpful, label it, detach, and replace it with an empowering alternative. Evening reflection: before bed, journal 2 moments when you acted as the observer instead of reacting. Reflect on how your day would have been different without this awareness. Sensory visualization: once a day, close your eyes and fully immerse in a 2-minute visualization of your desired life, using all your senses to feel the vibration of your ideal reality. Story example. Mark, a friend stuck in debt and career uncertainty, began this practice. Every morning, he observed his anxious thoughts without engaging. When old fears arose, he detached and acknowledged them as passing energy. Finally, he visualized the life he desired: financial freedom, career opportunities, and fulfilling relationships. Within weeks, he noticed subtle synchronicities: new clients, unexpected opportunities, and supportive connections. He realized that his reality began to respond not because he forced outcomes, but because he shifted his inner state from reactive to observer-aligned creation. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity and practicality. You do not need hours of meditation or complex rituals. Even 10 to 15 minutes daily, practiced consistently, starts to rewire your relationship with your mind. Thoughts no longer control you, they inform you. You become the conscious director of your life, rather than a passive participant in your mental story. Remember, this is a practice, not a one-time fix. Your mind is used to habitual patterns. Every day you observe, detach, and resonate, you reinforce your true identity as the observer. Gradually, mental loops lose their power, emotional reactivity decreases, and your inner field becomes coherent. The outer world begins to reflect this internal alignment. By following these 3 steps, you are literally rewiring your brain, energy, and perception. You step into a state where reality responds to your conscious awareness, not to unconscious reaction. Life begins to unfold in alignment with your true self, rather than your habitual thought patterns. When you consistently practice the observe detach resonate method, profound transformation begins, both internally and externally. The first change is inner calm. You no longer collapse into mental chaos every time a negative thought appears. The storm of anxiety, fear, and self-doubt gradually quiets. You begin to realize that thoughts are not commands, they are passing energy waves. This inner calm is not temporary, it becomes a baseline for your life, creating a stable foundation from which to act. Next comes clarity of self. By stepping out of identification with your mind, you start seeing life from a wider perspective. You recognize patterns that once went unnoticed, and your reactions become measured instead of impulsive. Decisions are no longer colored by fear or old conditioning, instead, they are made from conscious awareness. You begin to understand that you are not your thoughts, emotions, or circumstances, you are the observer. As this clarity grows, you notice that reality itself responds differently. Opportunities that seemed impossible begin to appear. Relationships improve because you engage from presence rather than reactivity. Challenges that once caused panic are now met with a calm, coherent approach. Synchronicities begin to unfold. This is the quantum effect in action. Your inner field, coherent and aligned, begins to resonate with external possibilities. Let me share a story. Jenna had struggled for years with self-doubt and stagnation in her career. Every day felt like a fight against her own mind. After committing to the Observe Detach Resonate method, she began to notice subtle shifts. Her critical thoughts no longer dominated her day. Instead of reacting, she paused, observed, and chose her response consciously. Within weeks, she experienced unexpected career opportunities, supportive mentorship, and a growing sense of confidence. Her reality responded to the calm and coherence she cultivated internally. The transformation also touches emotional resilience. Because you are no longer fused with passing thoughts, negative experiences no longer have the same impact. Emotional swings decrease, stress hormones normalize, and your body functions in a calmer, healthier state. Energy that was once spent on anxiety and overthinking is now available for creative endeavors, learning, and deeper connection with others. Another key aspect of transformation is alignment with purpose. When you operate as the observer, your actions come from your highest self rather than compulsive habits. Your decisions align with your goals, values, and authentic desires. You begin to attract situations that support growth rather than hinder it. People, opportunities, and experiences naturally gravitate toward your coherent vibration. Physical, mental, and spiritual dimensions begin to integrate. You experience a sense of wholeness as inner clarity manifests externally. Meditation and mindfulness become more powerful because they are now supported by your identity as the observer. You no longer chase peace or control outcomes, instead, peace and alignment flow naturally. Transformation also includes subtle, almost magical changes. You notice patterns of synchronicity, the right people show up at the right time, ideas come when least expected, and solutions arise seemingly out of nowhere. These are not coincidences, they are reality responding to your aligned inner field. The most profound transformation is realizing that life is no longer a battle. You are not trying to fix your thoughts, force results, or control circumstances. You are creating from the space of awareness, allowing reality to respond to the coherence, presence, and energy you maintain. To summarize, consistent practice leads to inner calm, freedom from mental chaos, clarity of self, conscious rather than reactive decisions, reality alignment, opportunities and synchronicities, emotional resilience, reduced stress and anxiety, purposeful living, actions aligned with authentic self, integration, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual coherence. The transformation is not just about thinking differently, it is about being differently. You move from a reactive participant in life to a conscious creator. The observer inside you becomes the engine of your reality. And the results? Life begins to unfold in ways that feel effortless, magical, and deeply fulfilling. With transformation comes mission. The moment you realize that thoughts aren't yours and that reality responds to the observer, you gain a responsibility, not to the world, but to yourself. Your mission is to live as a conscious creator, embodying the observer in every thought, action, and moment. This mission begins internally. Commit to daily observation, detachment, and resonance. These are not just exercises, they are the foundation of your new identity. As you maintain awareness, you cultivate a stable inner field that influences everything you do. Your emotions, actions, and decisions begin to align with your highest self rather than reactive impulses. You become a source of coherence in a chaotic world. Externally, your mission radiates into relationships, work, and contribution. When you engage with others from a place of awareness, calm, and presence, you influence their energy. People respond to your coherence, opportunities flow more naturally, and your environment begins to mirror your inner state. You become a magnet for synchronicities, support, and aligned experiences. Practical steps to embody your mission. Consistency in practice: observe, detach, and resonate daily. Even 10 to 15 minutes consistently builds a foundation of conscious awareness. Share your presence, teach others by example. Don't impose, let your calm and clarity inspire those around you. Expand your field, engage in activities that raise your vibration: nature walks, creative expression, mindful movement, and conscious connection with others. Purpose-driven action: align daily actions with your authentic desires, not habitual thought loops. Every choice becomes an opportunity to reinforce your observer identity. Let's explore an example. Alex, a professional constantly overwhelmed by anxiety and workplace stress, began practicing the observer method. Initially, he focused on observing thoughts during brief pauses at work. Gradually, he detached from fears about failure and visualized success in meetings and projects. Within weeks, he noticed colleagues responding positively, opportunities presenting themselves naturally, and stressful situations dissolving more easily. By embodying the observer, his mission extended outward, impacting both his internal and external world. Your mission also includes raising collective awareness. Every individual who embodies conscious observation contributes to the collective field. When you shift your internal state, you influence others indirectly through energy resonance. Your presence, actions, and clarity ripple outward, creating a subtle but profound impact. You become part of a larger movement of conscious creators, each contributing to a reality that responds to awareness rather than fear or limitation. Now, it's time for action. Here's how to implement your mission immediately. Daily practice: start your day with 5 to 10 minutes of observation and detachment. Notice thoughts, label them, release them. Visualization: focus on the version of yourself living your highest potential. Feel it fully and allow the quantum field to respond. Journal reflections: at night, note moments where you acted as the observer rather than reacting. Record subtle changes in your environment or relationships. Share and inspire: discuss insights with friends, mentors, or community members. Energy spreads faster than information. Finally, let's tie it all together. The moment you realize thoughts aren't yours, reality begins to respond differently. The inner shift creates an outer ripple. You gain calm, clarity, resilience, and alignment. Opportunities, relationships, and synchronicities appear naturally. Life becomes a canvas, and you are the conscious painter. Subscribe and turn on notifications to explore more quantum consciousness and manifestation strategies. Comment below with one thought you notice isn't yours and commit to releasing it this week. Practice the Observe Detach Resonate method daily for 7 days and journal the results. Share this video with someone trapped in mental loops, helping them step into the observer role. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Your mission is to live consciously, create deliberately, and let reality respond to the observer you embody. Step into your field. Align your energy. Watch your life transform.